Now, one of the most common questions that I get, and I get this all the time, is what do I do for Amazon FBA if I'm just getting started? What do I do if I'm a beginner? And I wanted to bring somebody on. This is Gary. Gary did his first $10,000 in Amazon FBA, and we're going to go over how he did that. He actually made a lot of the common mistakes that I see all the time, including yours truly have made. And we're going to go over what we did to fix that. And full disclosure, I am actually an investor in Gary's company. I actually talked to him last November, fell in love with his vision. My wife and I did, and we love what he's doing in the space. Now, here's the cool part is there are a lot of people in this space that sell for like a third of our price that we're selling our product for, and we'll get into the product, we'll get into everything. Now, before I bring Gary on though, I want to just go over the results that we got and how he just kind of had one of his best sales day ever. And we're going to go over that, and then I'm going to interview him and just go over some questions on what he did to get started and to get this momentum. So I'm going to go off the screen. I'm going to play this video for you, and then I'll be right back on.
Hello, my fellow PPC farm animals, you gorgeous beasts. Travis asked me to make a Komodo deck for what was a record-breaking day for me yesterday. So I thought I would share my screen here. This is an email that I sent to him. He is part owner in my brand pack of Life Castor Oil Packs. Just a little backstory. I have struggled to get these things going since stocking out in October of last year. They arrived back in stock mid-December, and since then it's just been a struggle, it seems like. I'm getting 1-2 sales a day. Some days I'll get 7 sales. Some days I'll get 0 sales. Perhaps you've had this experience before with your own brands, and it's frustrating. And so I wanted to have at least one day with no budget cap. Just one day where I took my best performing campaigns and let them run, let them go. And so yesterday I decided to do just that. I was a little scared, I was a little anxious, a little sweaty, but I saw it through until 8 p.m. when I realized that I was running low on FBA inventory. And so I had to stop the experiment. But what an incredible day. It was my best sales day ever in the history of castor oil packs, at least for this brand. I was so close to my first $1,000 day. I'm still stoked. I sold 17 units for $979 in product sales. And one thing of note was that my conversion rate was almost double my normal conversion rate. Amazon loves large budgets. Go ahead and give this a try on your best performing campaign if you're running your own campaigns on Amazon. For me, my ad spend was $380 for the day. Ad sales were $800, and I was able to maintain a 45% ACoS. Conversion rate was at 8%, and the organic sales were 3. I can't imagine how many I'd get once I'm ranking. What did I learn? 1, don't be afraid to try larger budgets. And 2, there's a beep ton of traffic for castor oil packs. I could have easily spent $700 a day. In any case, I wanted to share this win with you. It's certainly a big win for me. Go ahead and open budgets for your next campaign and see what happens. You might surprise yourself. Adios.
I told you to unmute yourself, and I did not unmute my own self. And I said, welcome to the show, and you weren't responding. And I was like, okay, what's going on here? So
Hey, this is live.
this is live. Anything can happen. Now, Gary, I want to unpack this a little bit. We just went over your results with that Komodo deck that you made for our community,
Sure.
and you shared that with our team and everything. So congratulations on having that sales day. It was pretty exciting.
Thanks.
So let's just jump into some questions. And I want to go into some of the key strategies that you employed in your castor oil packs. How would you recommend anyone launching a new product on Amazon today? Because you just launched this product when?
This product was launched last June, and then I stocked out at the end of October. And so I'd been out of stock for a few months before we relaunched again in January.
I can honestly say that you made the typical mistake that entrepreneurs make, and that is stocking out of your first order. So congratulations on that, because I did the same thing. I ordered 100 pairs of sunglasses and then stocked out right away. And then we had to wait 3 months to get back into stock. So literally you had the same trajectory that I did. And what are some key things that you've done this time around to relaunch it? Kind of walk us through that relaunch strategy and let us know what your sales are since that relaunch.
So as far as the relaunch strategy goes, basically it was important for me to come out of the gate strong, and that's hard to do in the month of December, I realized. I wouldn't recommend relaunching a product in December, especially a week before Christmas, because you can struggle to try and get sales going. And so what happened is I actually had to keep pausing and archiving and relaunching my campaigns. And then about the third time I tried doing that, in the first week of January, they started sticking and I started seeing sales come in. And so you do have to be cognizant of the holidays and the time of year that you're trying to relaunch a product. And of course, there's a disadvantage that you have when you have to relaunch after stocking out, and that is that you no longer have the honeymoon period that Amazon gives you for about the first 35 days when you first launch your product, because it's a new product. And what the honeymoon period is it's a time where your product is going to be shown by Amazon in different spots and different ranks on page where it really shouldn't be shown. But they're doing that to try and give you a boost and to see how that product's going to perform. Let's see if they can get any sales velocity going for you. And so when you relaunch after stocking out, you no longer have the honeymoon period. And it's a little bit more difficult to get, and I'm finding still to get sales going.
How did you find the keywords that you went after with PPC, even back in June? And then what keywords did you do the same keywords when you relaunched in December, or did you choose different ones?
Before I launched in June, I had done some serious research with tools like Helium 10 and Zonguru. There's a number, and Jungle Scout. There's a number of tools you can use that are widely available that will help you zero in on your product category and who your avatar is that will be using your product. And so that's how I initially started out. And of course, with castor oil packs, the main keyword would be castor oil packs, and kind of went down from there. But as far as getting them, well, I'm sorry, what was the second part of your question? Can you repeat that?
It was pretty much, talking about the keywords and then how you chose them initially and then how you chose them when you relaunched later on.
Okay, I'm sorry. And so then when I relaunched, I had what was called search history. I had conversion reports that I could pull, search term reports from Amazon, which showed my keywords that I'd been converting on previously. And so that made it a little bit easier to construct campaigns based around those keywords. I tried to target the keywords that were responsible for a good chunk of the sales. And that came down to about 20% of the keywords, which were responsible for about 80% of the sales. And those are the ones that we concentrated on as I started the relaunch in December and January. And so having that history and having keywords that are converting for you gives you a step up when you're relaunching.
And here's the crazy thing. We actually just had a meeting last week and going over his Amazon PPC results. And we actually narrowed down your PPC even more. We actually narrowed it down to 2 campaigns because we noticed that there was a lot of campaigns there, but all of them were just making 1 sale or no sales. And then there were 2 campaigns that were making all the sales. Essentially, they were making over 10 orders essentially in the 7-day period that we looked at. And so to save on budget, we just cut every campaign and just focused on those 2, the 80-20 that we always talk about here on this channel. Now, castor oil packs, that's not a typical, I'm going to do product research and find castor oil packs. What made you come out with castor oil packs?
Castor oil packs, I came across inadvertently. I had experience with previous brands on Amazon that weren't doing really well. And I got to the point where I was able to source products well, research them, find and negotiate with factories, and get popular products put under my own brand name and bring those in. But I was still missing a major piece of the pie that I discovered when I was designing the pack of Life Castor Oil Packs. And basically, I discovered quite by accident that the very first thing to consider before ever selling on Amazon is this. If you truly want to grow a brand with any sort of longevity, you have to solve a problem people are experiencing. And the bigger the problem, the more people that have it, the bigger your market. And that's kind of what happened with the castor oil pack. I was actually wanting to develop a product for myself, for my own personal use, because I had previously been diagnosed with fatty liver disease. And I'd known about castor packs for years. And I'd made makeshift castor packs out of pea pads and heating packs and straps and belts just to put around my waist. They gave me quite a bit of relief from the discomfort and that I was experiencing at times. And as I transitioned to a healthier lifestyle, I realized that I didn't want to continue losing shirts to stains and sheets to castor oil stains. And I was basically immobile on my bed, laying there for 2 or 3 hours at a time while I was doing some castor oil therapy sessions with castor packs. And so that's what led me to sit down with a factory and just try and design a castor pack for myself that would solve my own problem. And I then realized that there are a number of people, in fact, there's about 25% of Americans that suffer from fatty liver disease, and that this might be a good product to offer to them as well. And that's kind of how it was born. I did my research after I was almost through developing the product for my own problem.
So
And
you didn't do product research like everybody else. You didn't find a commodity to sell in China and from China. You found something that solved a problem that you had, and then you realized more people had this problem. So you're like, I need to get this solution into the hands of more people.
that's
It's Go
correct. Yeah.
ahead.
I was just going to say, yeah, I had had previous experience with bringing in products from China that I thought would do well. I was basically a Me Too seller. Stanley mugs, they're having great success selling 40-ounce tumblers. I will try that too. And what I found out is you can't compete with Stanley or Yeti, and you're not going to get seen if you're entering extremely competitive niches where you're just basically bringing product in that anyone can get from China. And what happens, you might even have success initially when you do that, but because there's no real business plan or brand growth plan, you've got about 12 months if you have successful sales before your competition notices and puts you out of business by undercutting your price by 50%, 50% less than you can even buy it from China for. So
And
it's,
this is what I love about your brand. So I'm highlighting it here in the screen share, and you can see here the couple things that we talked about on the last session that we had strategy meeting is we put a real human in here with a real castor oil pack around her. This is the actual castor oil pack. This is a real human. And when you look at everybody else, you can tell these are just 3D renders or just like they took a photo from Canva, they slapped a castor oil pack on it, and they're all the same. And they're all cheap. They're not modular like yours, and they're all about half the price of yours, including this one that's $16. We sell ours for $60. And I talk about this all the time to people is don't be afraid to go with a higher price, because when you go with a higher price, you have more money to market with. And so let's talk about pricing a little bit. And before I do that, before we go into pricing, talk to me a little bit about inventory management and what you've done to kind of help shore that up a little bit more.
as far as inventory management goes, when I first came out with the Castor Pack, I had no idea what to expect. I purchased 500 units from China, and I thought, well, let's just do a test. Let's see what happens. And so I brought them in and sold through them in 3 months, which was amazing. That meant it was a successful product, at least in my mind. But about a month and a half into that, as I was selling through the product, I realized, I'm going to have to place another order pretty soon, or I'm going to run out of stock. And even back then, I knew it was bad to run out of stock. You don't want to do that. If you do that, your rank's going to disappear. And so I thought I had negotiated successfully with the factory to get me more stock. I thought they were going to be able to do it in 40 days. But as it occurs in real life, 40 days turned into 60 days, and then 75 days, and then 80 days. And so I was out of stock for about 2 months. And that really, really put the brakes on the velocity that I was experiencing with my sales into what could have been a really great, product launch that was strong coming into the new year. And so I realized I wasn't quite able to figure out inventory management on my own with my spreadsheets. There are a lot of factors, a lot of math that goes into that. And I was introduced to your new program there at Profitable Pineapple called the Profitable Pineapple Express Inventory Management System that your programmer, Randy Thabeau, has been working on with you. And that actually takes all the guesswork out of inventory management. It lets you know when you need to sell more stock into Amazon FBA, when you need to place an order with a factory. And it's all based on I think it's all based off your average sales velocity and how much product you're moving. So that's one less thing you have to worry about when you're trying to market your product online on Amazon.
Yeah, this is our shameless plug down at the bottom. You can go to profitablepineappleexpress.com and check that out. And then you can sign up for the free 30-day trial on that. So I did not tell Gary to say that, by the way, but he did plug into our inventory management software after we had this problem. So now we know exactly what we need to order and when we need to order it by. Let's go into the pricing strategy a little bit. Now, you made some changes on this recently. And can you talk about the changes you made to the pricing and what that did for it?
Sure. With pricing products on Amazon, if it's a new product, you're still kind of moving the slider around up and down to see where your sweet spot is. And I had these at 64.95, and they were selling okay, but really it was just one or two a day. And it wasn't really anything to write home about. It certainly wasn't a sales velocity increase that I wanted to see. And so we experimented by moving the price down to $59.98, which is where I had it actually initially back in June when I first launched. And it seemed to make a huge difference on sales. They started picking up the very next day. The other thing that I might add that I did was I added coupon, 10% coupon to the product. Coupons are really important. Everyone should have them. Only about, at least in my case, I think it's less than 20% of the people actually use the coupons. But what's happening is it's enlarging the space on screen that your hero image takes up and that your listing takes up, which helps crowd out your competitors a little bit. One thing of note is that 80% of Amazon shoppers are coming and shopping on Amazon on mobile devices. And so they're scrolling down the screen, and the bigger your hero image is, the bigger your listing is, the more real estate it takes up. And by putting a coupon on there, that actually increases real estate that your picture takes up. I think it's like 5 or 10%. There are a few other things you can do, like getting badges and having sales and things like that will make your real estate, your property even larger, which is important and can increase sales. But at least I know with coupons, they're super important for people, and I would always recommend using them.
Let's go into your reviews. How did you get your initial reviews, and how has this helped your brand as well?
Yeah, I didn't have any reviews when I started out, and I, had members of my family buy on their own accounts and review initially, so I could at least get one
Don't do
review.
that. That is against terms of service for
It
all
is in
you
terms of
viewers
service.
out there.
It is. Amazon's not watching, I hope. But then I realized I still need, I need more than 2 reviews. And so I was able, because I had registered my brand with Amazon, I was able to enroll in their Vine program, which allows you to send free product out to Vine reviewers who are vetted by Amazon, who will review your product and then post reviews for you.
And they'll give you 4-star reviews pretty much every time.
Yeah, luckily I didn't get any 3-star reviews, but I didn't get all 5-star reviews either. It took anywhere from 1 to 4 months, and there's still some reviews that haven't come in yet. I initially sent out 20 free packs. I wish I would have done
Video
more.
review too.
A video review, yeah. I wish I would have done more, because once you've enrolled in the Vine program once for your brand, you can't do it again.
How many did you enroll?
I did 20, and I should have probably done about 40 or 50.
Yeah, always do the max amount you can, because you're never going to be able to get those initial reviews again, and they have to leave a review. So that's what's great about them.
Right. And they were very thorough. They did a good job of going through the product and telling me where I was coming up short on the design. And so that's important too. You got to listen to your reviews. For example, I already have version 2.0 of the Castor Pack ready to go for our next door to the factory. And I've tried to improve upon the first one by redesigning the belt and just a few other things that I thought were make the quality of life easier for people trying to use it. And so that's the other thing I'd recommend for new sellers. Always be prepared to update your product at least every 6 to 12 months. And you should especially be updating your product pages in your listing, refreshing your listings. And
especially based on what your customers are giving you feedback for, which I know you've custom made this pretty much whole thing. So you've done a great job at doing that. Let's go back to your initial launch again. How did you determine budgets for that initial launch, both in June and then in December when you did it again?
In June, I didn't have a budget strategy really. I just knew what I could afford to spend each day on Amazon, which wasn't a lot because I was a new seller with limited funds. And I think my budget initially was $50 a day. And I experimented with that, and that was for all my campaigns. And so I went from $50 up to $100 and then down to $80. And it seemed to get pretty good sales velocity coming in at that point. And when I started running out of stock, I didn't want to run out of stock faster than I needed to. And so I did increase the price of the Castor Pack up to $64, which helped slow down sales velocity a little bit. And my budget lasted a little further through the day during that time. But I subscribe to a different mentality now when it comes to slowing down sales velocity. I don't think that's a good idea. I think you just need, if you're going to stock out, close your listing the day you stock out. And then when you're back in stock, reopen your listing. But don't leave your listing open with no stock. And I think it's probably a little easier to recover that way. So I've learned a lot, made a lot of mistakes along the way, and certainly things I would have done differently, but it's all part of the process of learning how to sell on Amazon.
It is, and you'll learn more. Luckily, I'm here to help you.
Yeah.
And we do have a monthly strategy meeting that we go through a lot of the things that hopefully you won't make the same mistakes that we did because it will save you a lot of money. That's the goal. So let's talk about some tips that you have for beginners to really stand out in their product category to launch. Now that you've gone through this and it's been about 6 months since the initial one, now you're relaunching it and it's been about 2 months. You've had some time to, I'm sure, reflect on both of them. What are some tips that you can give some people that are just launching new products and people that are just getting started?
So if you're just getting started on Amazon, there are several strategies that can help you stand out in your product category. And one tip I have is to conduct thorough market research, of course, to understand your competition and identify gaps or opportunities in the market before ever launching a product. This goes back to what I discussed earlier about solving a problem for people and then doing a better job at solving that problem or offering a unique or different way of solving that problem than the competition. Um, some people do arbitrage on Amazon where they'll sell chapstick or they'll sell toilet paper and they're competing against 1,000 other sellers. I don't think that that is a business strategy that has any sort of longevity to it, simply because Amazon's starting to gate or restrict the number of people that can actually do that as these brands like chapstick decide they don't want anyone selling their brand but them. And so it's important to solve a problem and then offer that problem as a solution, offer the solution to that problem as a product on Amazon. And in order to really stand out in the market and make your product a hit, you'll want to focus on effective positioning and differentiation. And so, as we discussed previously, you got to dive into your keyword research tools. Again, I recommend ZonGuru, taking a look at customer reviews of your competitors and seeing where they're coming up short. Looking at the negative reviews can be a huge way of doing great product research and market research, and see if you can solve the problem better than your competitors doing it. Another tip is to make sure your product listings are 100% optimized for your main keywords on Amazon. Your product title and bullet points and product descriptions have to be compelling and as optimized as possible. And this is something anyone with access to ChatGPT can easily accomplish nowadays. It's very important. And then most importantly, you've got to, and I can't stress this enough, you have to invest in high quality product images. This will really influence your click-through rate, where people actually see your ad and they'll click into it. And that has to be as high as possible to get your launch off to a good start. If you don't have the click-through rate, it doesn't matter how good your product is, you're not going to get the sale.
Now we've been doing a test with your click-through rate, looking at this photo again, and we're testing this model, real model, like we talked about earlier, real person, not some 3D rendering or fake image that
Right.
so many people use, like Chinese sellers. This is a real model with the product, and we're testing this versus no model. And how many days have we been testing? Like a
It
week?
has just barely started, so I'm excited to see the results. I think it's been running just a couple of days. But
Cool.
I have high hopes. I think showing, an actual, people like to see faces, and a lot of Amazon gurus say faces are important on Amazon. People like to see somebody looking back at them and smiling. They make that connection.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of that in this space. Just doing like a quick audit of your listing, I would say like some of your photos, these are very wordy.
Yep,
Um,
yep.
Not a bad
I
thing, but
agree.
you could consolidate that. You can use ChatGPT to say, hey, I have a lot of words here. Can you consolidate this down to 5 to 10 words? And it will clean that whole thing up so you can really get to the benefits of it. And I like how you're focusing on the benefits of these and what castor oil does. You can see that all right here. Always have to be careful with how you phrase things for FDA structure function claims.
Sure.
And then you have all this stuff as well. But yeah, just getting the words down a little bit more will help. But I would say everything looks really good. You have very good bullets. You have your brand story, which is right here, which we always recommend putting an upsell in it if you can, but we only have one product right now. So that makes sense why we only have that. And then you have all the benefits right here. So it looks really good.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm in the actually process of, and hopefully by the end of this week, I'll have new images that I want to test, because now that I realize that 80% of people are coming to Amazon and shopping and buying on their mobile device, you need to have your images as image heavy as possible, and as with less text. You really want to try and sell with an image if you can. People don't have the time to go out, and on a mobile device, they can't even make it big enough to even read like a paragraph of text under your image listing. And so, like you say, it's important to just hit the main bullet points, the main pain points, or the solutions and benefits for the customer in just a sentence or less, if you can. And
Care if we jump into your numbers real quick?
Oh, not at all.
And so the goal of this is like, I'm going to have Gary on for updates and everything, but here's our last 30 days, January 21st to February 19th. You can see $7,500 in gross revenue, minus 10% margin. We've spent about 3,500. So our tacos is, approaching that 45-ish%.
Right.
Off the top of my head. And then you can see right here, our net profit's negative 773. So this shows you that you have to invest. Like you can't expect a product to be profitable on month 1 or month 2. We're in month 2 essentially right now. And so we're learning a lot on what we can do. We did do some things to switch to profitability, but I think it will help take off sales as well. You can correct me if I'm wrong. You've probably seen the results since we've made those changes. So yeah, about 360. So you can see not too crazy, but we're doing about 300 a day. That was the day we were talking about at the beginning, almost $1,000 in that day. And he uncapped his budget and he lowered his price by $5 to play with that. But here we're averaging, it looks like about 6 sales a day.
Yeah, over the weekends, they're the worst times. I got like 1 sale yesterday. And that's another thing. That's another tip for sellers. Never look at your stats day by day or you'll pull your hair out. Make sure you're always looking, at least giving 7 days of attribution before you start making any adjustments on your unless a campaign's out of control spending. Make sure you're giving it enough time to really see a good average over time.
And we are still in launch mode for this product. So a tacos of 46% is pretty normal. We started out at 93% and it's just gradually come down.
Really high.
I think our lowest was like 36%, right?
That was.
Yeah. And so you just have to keep pushing advertising sales for main keywords that will then bring down your tacos, making you more profitable as you increase in organic rank. And so I just wanted to share these for full transparency so you guys can actually see a result of about a $10,000 a month brand new company, and we're still negative net profit. And so we're going to be investing in this over the next couple months and probably be turning a profit by, I would say, maybe April, May. But I don't expect that with new product launches. I actually tend to go in the hole quite a bit. I know one of my friends, Aaron Cordova, he went in the hole for like garlic press. He went in the hole like $400,000 over the course of 2 years to become the #1 garlic press. But guess what? That product is now making him millions per year. And so you have to be willing to go in the hole to do that.
And I had a comment about that if I could.
Yeah.
And it kind of ties into what I wish I would have known before starting out on Amazon FBA. And I just wanted to share basically some thoughts. And what I wish I would have known before starting out on Amazon is about a product's life cycle and what to expect regarding that life cycle. Basically, a product life cycle on Amazon has 3 phases. And it's important for new sellers to know this. You're not just going to profit out of the gate. If you do, you're extremely likely, but you're probably doing it wrong. Your first phase is your launch phase, which is what we're talking about now with my product. Launch phases can last anywhere from 30 to 90 days if you don't run out of stock. And during this first phase, your goal is to establish rank, get sales velocity, achieve a profitable ACoS, which stands for total advertising cost of sales, and collect customer and PPC data. You should expect to break even or even be a little negative during this phase. If you're making huge profits, like I said, congratulations, but you're most likely not pushing hard enough with advertising to really get your product ranking and your sales velocity to take off. And then there's a second phase, and that's known as the market expansion phase. And this phase lasts anywhere from 6 to 24 months. And your goal is to gain market share during this phase, increase and hold your rank for your primary keywords, gain rank for more high relevance keywords, and do some brand offense or target some competitor keywords or product ASINs. And at this point, you should be able to have between 100 to 1,000 4.5-star or higher product reviews. And you should be hitting about 20% profits during your second phase, the market expansion phase. And then finally, what I wish I would have known is that there's the third or final phase, and Travis is familiar with this phase because this is a phase in which he sold one of his companies, Isla, for mucho mula. This is called the harvest phase, the third phase, and that can last anywhere from 2 to 5 years. This is the time that you maximize profitability and start taking profits. And then at this point, your profits can range from 25 to 40% or higher. During this time, you should be minimizing all your costs, which includes your cost of goods, your advertising, your shipping, your storage fees, everything you can do to get the cost of that product down, even if it involves repackaging to fit to a smaller size tier for shipping. You should be holding your campaigns rank and doing brand defense campaigns during this phase, which is where you bet on your own branded keywords or product targets to prevent competitors from showing on your product pages and stealing your sales. And it's important to increase the efficiency of everything for maximum profit during this phase. And incidentally, if you are, and Travis might want to talk about this a little, if you are looking to exit or sell your product, this is usually the phase during which you'll start attracting motivated buyers, because they'll see that your brand is profitable, well known in the marketplace, and has a sizable customer list they can market to. So if you've grown your brand correctly by collecting as much customer data as possible, this would be a very successful phase for you. And so I wish I would have known that Amazon is a long game if you want to be around for more than a year. And if you can play it right, you'd end up with a brand worth 7 or 8 figures in a relatively short amount of time.
We build ours. Yeah, we built ours in about 4 years, and the one that we sold, and we built it from 2017 to 2021. In 2020, we actually took $0 in profit. We were trying to do different things. We were trying to grow off Shopify. We were distracted. And so we went back to what you just talked about and focused on profitability in 2021. I think I said that right. Yeah, 2020, we were $0 in profit. 2021, we switched it, ended up doing about 600,000 in EBITDA that year, profit. And it's essentially the same number, not quite, but I'm not going to get into that. And that's when we sold for, was on that EBITDA number. And that helped out tremendously because the multiple we got was much higher because the EBITDA was higher, but we also had an audience as well. And so there's a lot of things that you're just getting started. And yes, it may seem hard, but this is the grind, and this is the fun. This is the journey that you're going.
I actually think it's fun. It's fun for me. So if it's not fun for you, then you might want to do social media or something else.
Even that has its challenges. So
for sure,
it's different. Everything's different. And so you're doing a combination. You're doing social media mixed with this, pretty much doing the structure that we teach inside our farm, our 10x linchpin, which is a combination of social media, Google ads, audience building, sending all that traffic over to Amazon to then make more Amazon sales and just bring more brand awareness. And you're at the very beginning. And what I'm hopefully going to do is get you on once every quarter or so, just to give us brand updates, where your email list is, where your revenue is, where your profit is, just so we can show people this is real. I mean, we're in it, we're doing it. And you're one of our, we'll say, quote unquote, test accounts that we like to try things on when we're working on things in the agency. And Gary is one of our account managers inside the agency. You've been with us for about 6 months now. 7 months, 8 months?
Since September, late August, September. So yeah, it's gone by fast. I was hoping you could talk to the audience a little bit about your customer list and what that did for the exit value of your brand, because it's so important to build an email list of customers. Yeah, and that's one of the things that you need to be doing with each of your products, is making sure that you have an insert in your product. The goal being bring the customer traffic back to your website and capture their email.
Yeah. So one of the things that we did is we had an insert in our products that would get them back to a landing page, and we'd give them a free gift, and they'd put in their email address, and then we'd email them and say, hey, one more step for your free gift. Just send us your address where we can send it to. And we actually sent them another one of our products. So we had eyelid wipes. We would send them 7 eyelid wipes. We'd mail it to them. Literally, our customer service rep would hand address the envelope, send a thank you card with 7 eyelid wipes, and she'd put like 5 stamps on it and just send it out. And so we did that. You have to severely tape the envelope so it doesn't fall apart. But we would do that because then they got to try another product of ours, and they started to trust us. And so that helped us build our email list. It also cross-sold them to another product to try, and usually they'd come back to buy more. And so it increased our average order value to around $70, and it increased our lifetime value to around $350 as we built that list. We also built that list because we had a free dry eye bootcamp challenge. We ended up building the list to around 200,000 by the time we sold the company. And when people see that and they see subscriptions, that's like automatic money. And what that does is it takes you from a 2 to 3x multiple to a higher multiple, that 4 to 6x multiple. And as your EBITDA climbs, your multiple climbs even more to like 6 to 10x. So like aggregating company, one that has like 9 companies under it, that's doing $100 million with like 15 million in EBITDA. they're going to sell for a higher multiple, like 10 to 25x, because it's more predictable. It's easier to scale as a result. And so somebody's going to buy them that knows how to scale from 100 million to 1 billion. And so the higher your EBITDA gets, the more your multiple goes up. The bigger your audience, the more your multiple goes up. And of course, the more you profit, the more you sell for. So it's pretty simple, but it's also very hard.
It is. Yeah, it's an amazing story, and I know you've sold several other companies as well, and
Yeah,
so it's great to.
we've sold some brick and mortar stores. Those are a lot different. They don't even sell for 1x EBITDA almost.
Wow,
So
wow,
it's much different there. And then we've sold a couple other things, but I Love was the big one. We have one
that's
question
amazing.
that I wanted to go over.
Sure.
Abdul asks, is it possible to provide one-on-one support? Yes, I do charge $997 an hour for one-on-one support. So if you want to do that, you just have to send me an email, drtravis@profitablepineapple.com. If you want to join our group coaching, that's at profitablepineapplefarm.com. We let 10 people in every 2 months. And so we're actually enrolling right now to begin in March. So check that out, profitablepineapplefarm.com. Sorry, I interrupted you. You had one more comment?
Oh, no, that's fine. I know we're a little bit over, but I just wanted to go back to branding because it's so important for a new seller to understand how to really stand out. And I just wanted to tell the story of a pet vitamin brand that was competing against much larger companies I read about the other day. They went from an 8 to 9 figure company and sold, I think, for $600 million, one of the largest companies to ever sell for that much money on Amazon to another brand, to another company, I should say. And they did that by redesigning their packaging specifically for Amazon. They made their product photos as large as possible so that they would fill as much of that 1,000 by 1,000 pixel square as they could. And they made and then they included, and of course they used a really attention grabbing color. I think it was bright orange. And compared to the competition, it stood out like a sore thumb. And when you're scrolling on mobile, you're not thinking, you're just clicking based on um, base impulses that go from your eyes to your brain. And you see colors or you see things that stand out, you'll click on them. But anyway, they made that change. And then one of the other things that they did was they included their main keyword that they were trying to rank for in super large font right on the package, which could be seen on the thumbnail. And I think it was odor control or pet vitamins. There's several different things that they were doing with the different ASINs that they were advertising. But basically, a shopper immediately knew what it was they were selling. And this is on mobile, not desktop. And they could make that instant connection in their minds to the keyword they had typed into the search box, and their click-through rate skyrocketed, which basically skyrocketed their sales and took them to a 9-figure company. I think it's an ingenious strategy, and certainly one I'm going to try and implement with Castor Packs myself moving forward.
Cool. Well, Gary, thank you for being on. I appreciate you going over Pack of Life and everything we did to build them up to, or everything you did. I just gave you advice, but you did everything. And
Well,
how you
the
built
advice
it up.
is important too.
Yeah, but $7,500 a month, and we'll probably be able to double that probably in the next couple months. So pretty excited for that. So, any parting words of advice for the viewers?
Don't get discouraged. You have ups and downs, and you've seen sales charts before. They look like mountains. And so when you're headed down, remember they're going to probably come back up if you keep doing things right and just keep providing great customer service. And if you have a good product that solves a problem and you believe in it and you're passionate about it, make sure you're driving outside traffic to your Amazon listing. You've got to be active in your social medias and on your TikToks and Facebooks, posting and spreading the word every day about it. And that will come back and help you in the long run and increase your ranking. And so just be passionate about your product and work hard every day, trying to promote it, and it will eventually take off for you.
And 2 more things. If you want Gary to do a voiceover for you, he was a former meteorologist, so that smooth, silky voice could be a voiceover for one of your videos. Second thing, is that a Christmas tree in your background?
That is our spring tree. It has been redecorated. We've removed all Christmas colors, and now it provides a source of hope and light that there will be green outside one day, that grass we can walk on. And
all right, Gary, appreciate you being on.
yep, thank you.